Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is From Zero to Hero, How to Ignite and Accelerate Your Integration Strategy with Workato's Embedded Platform. A bit of a mouthful. All right, let's jump in. So a little bit about myself. My name's Carly Frederick. I'm our head of solutions here at Workato. I've been in the embedded integration space, a bit of a niche, for 6.5 years. I have some front-end engineering experience, so I do obsess a bit about UI, UX. For those who are thinking about fully embedding us anywhere into your product, would love to see all of your mocks and talk about that, because that is a passion of mine. I'm from Denver, Colorado. I've been there for over 5 years with my husband and our dog. We love all things outdoors, which might take a back seat come January. We are expecting a baby girl, so we're very excited about that. Yay. If you talked to me a couple months ago, I was not as excited. But feeling great now. So very excited to be here, have you guys all in the room, talk about the embedded platform, specifically on achieving value as quickly as possible, and really trying to get you guys to a point of value and then a point of scale with your customers. I'll pass it over to Alessio for a quick introduction.
Hey. So hi, I'm Alex. I joined Workato this year. I am responsible for the product manager for the Embed division. Before Workato, I was a founder, so a lot of your pains were my pains, and that's also the reason why I decided to join Workato. I also love to discuss a lot with product people, with product minds, so that's another reason why I decided to join Workato. I have 2 kids. And even more, I'm Italian one. So if you want to cook the best carbonara, you can reach me. I am outside, maybe there. Okay, don't worry about this one. So with this, I will repass to you, I think.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you. Sorry for those trickling in. I don't have a lot of seats. Oh, there's some more. Thank you, Natalie. Okay, what are we doing today? So we're going to talk about a little bit about Workato's embedded journey, how we got here. We have definitely found success in the last couple years, but it took us several years before that to learn and iterate. And then we'll do a background, but the bulk of the presentation is really going to be on the second and third items here, getting started on your embedded integration journey, figuring out how to ignite and accelerate your strategy, a lot more around programs and methodologies than product itself. We've got some product sessions for the embedded platform tomorrow, so please tune into those. And then finally, we'll wrap up with everyone's favorite part, our sneak peek at our roadmap, Alessio's show. So I'll pass it over to him. And we do hope to hopefully leave some ample time at the end for Q&A. So if anyone has questions throughout, if they're dying, pressing questions, feel free to interrupt me. I don't really care. But we've got time at the end as well allotted for that. All right, let's jump in. Our journey. How did we get here? So presumably a lot of you might be familiar with the platform, whether in the last couple years, months, days, maybe you've never heard of it before. It feels like a relatively new journey for us, but Workato actually has been on our embedded journey since 2014, a year after we were founded. We knew integrations really well, and we thought that there was a gap in the market for productized integrations. So we kind of went out there, floated the idea. The slides of those days were real something to look at. Our product kind of wasn't really ready for it, but we did get our first customer on board and really wanted to focus on integrations at scale, solving a kind of a gap in the market. There were a lot of players out there that were solving embedded integrations in a way, but they required some really heavy technical resources. We tried to lean into, obviously, the ability to have a low-code, no-code platform and meet your customers' needs in a way that just made it hopefully a bit easier to build. We hit some speed bumps because I think at that point, we knew the gap. We didn't necessarily know the product that was going to stick. So we kind of pivoted a bit in 2015, and we launched our first marketplace app, one of the biggest integration marketplaces out there on the market at the time. And I don't know how many product folks in the room might know this mantra, but build it and they will come was kind of the idea. A lot of people at that time were obviously starting to offer APIs and thought, hey, if I release my API, a lot of people will build it. Same with us. If we build a Workato app on this marketplace, people will come. And we put a lot of eggs in a basket to say, that's going to be usage, and we're really excited about it. And it was cool. People liked it for a little bit, and then they kind of didn't. So I think the idea at this point was, that was nice. It was a kind of way to get into the market, and then it kind of became shelfware. So we really wanted to figure out how to bring it back into our world, how to own more of that experience. And that's where in 2019 we launched what you could consider Workato OEM 2.0. We really leaned into the moat of making complex problems easier, obviously founded in enterprise integrations and automations, but making it something that we can kind of fully own and then fully own alongside you and your customers. So in 2019, we actually invested as a business into making the embedded platform what it is today. That is when I joined. I'm going to embarrass Nam Lee in the back corner there, who is our VP of the embedded business as well. We started to staff product, customer success, sales, all of those good people, and really invest. And we hit the ground running. Really cool start in 2019 for us. Lots of momentum, lots of really cool product feedback. Still obviously really small, as like a startup in a startup, if you will. And we had really cool explosive growth. And that launched us into a rebranding of Workato Embed in 2021, where we became the leading embedded iPaaS. Obviously, some of the features you might be familiar with. First fully embeddable builder within your own products. Lots of different UX experiences you could take to market, as well as leaning into, obviously, governance and security as top of mind. So that was been a really fun ride in the kind of beginning. Lots of battle scars, I'd say, and lessons learned. And now we turn the corner to today, which is what we're considering Workato Embed 3.0. We know that we've got a really strong customer base. We know that we have a really strong product. I thought the keynote this morning was awesome just to see all of the cool things that we continue to do and innovate on. But what we are now focused on, really as an entire company, but in the embedded world as well, it's not about us. It's not about any of you. It's actually about your customers. So we think everything is at a good place to really make your customers the center of the universe and really try to get usage deep into your customer base. It's one thing to offer embedded integrations. It's another to make them stick, to make them reusable, to put them at scale, for you to see the investment that we make into you and kind of return back. You'll see this theme of customer centricity throughout the rest of the presentation. That's why we kind of wanted to walk you through this. We learned a lot in the last 10 years, and I think we feel like we're poised at kind of one of the best parts of Workato's journey to really lean in and make you all successful as well. So this is fun stats, just to make sure that I didn't make up the last slide. You can kind of see some numbers here, flashy, they're great. But really, at the end of the day, seeing results for you guys is really important. Aligning to your business objectives, making sure that you're seeing things like high ROI, maybe an increase in ACV, maybe you're seeing a reduction in customer churn. Perhaps you're going to evaluate that you're using less engineering resources to get this out the door. Whatever it is in your business, we want to align to it, and we obviously want to partner and make sure that you can help get you the help that you need to kind of get to these metrics as quickly as possible. Speed is kind of the theme in today's presentation. So let's get into the meat of it. It's great to hear our history. It's great to see we've been successful. But where do you go from here? How do you figure out what to do next? You might have been a customer on the embedded platform for a couple years, but everything constantly is changing, especially in the world of SaaS, especially with the AI boom. This Walnut IQ is super cool that's coming out, right? So new use cases emerging, new ways to do things, your business strategy changing. So wherever you are in your journey, I think this applies. It's going to feel like it's kind of applicable to a new customer of ours, if you will. But I would argue it's always important to revisit some of these things that we'll talk about in the next couple of slides. So you bought an embedded iPaaS, now what? Shout out to anyone who is either an Always Sunny fan or from Philadelphia, which is where I'm from. You might be looking like Charlie Day. What do you do when you buy an embedded iPaaS? It's like a large endeavor, right? A big investment. And also, as an OEM type of software, you gotta kind of be responsible now for it being successful, as much as we'd like to make that happen for you. So This slide might give you some heartburn, but these are things that our customers are constantly asking us for help with. How do I make sure that I'm guaranteeing uptime? I'm creating SMEs on Workato. I can price this right. I can take it to market correctly. It's a lot. And it's a lot, especially when you sign up, you have it, you're ready to go, and you have no idea how to take it to market. I think the other thing to also consider is you're exploring a brand new tool. And as someone who's founded in kind of a technical nature, the tool does not stop providing. It does a lot. As you start to really get familiar with Workato, you'll uncover it can do a lot more than you even thought it could. You can unlock new use cases. Obviously, the world of AI is making that even more so relevant. So how do you actually make this make any sense, especially tied to your own business initiatives? So hopefully, what we can do in the next couple of slides here is walk you through some ways to reduce this noise and actually find impact in the platform in a way that feels consumable and not just theory, if you will. So how do you reduce that noise? We're going to talk about essentially igniting, accelerating, getting to value very quickly on the platform. And we're going to do that through what we're calling Kickstart initiatives. So there's about to be 3 things I pull up on this slide, and they're basically 3 different types of programs, if you will. They're all relatively new to our business, but as we went into this Workato 3.0 journey, we really wanted to focus on customer centricity, really helping you guys essentially get all of this figured out as quickly as possible, so it really becomes folded into your organization as an integration platform. So what's the first initiative? Strategize. You need a strategy of sorts. That's a big word. But you need to be able to involve the right people, processes, technology to take a very technical product and bring it to market. We do this through what we're going to call our embedded blueprint. This is a bit of a coming soon tool. We'll break it down in the next slide. Once you have your strategy, you need a launch. You need to actually do something with that product. You can't just let it be shelfware. I think a lot of our data shows that if you are kind of sitting on the product and not getting consumption month after month after month, that's definitely a sign that you might not find ultimate success on Workato. So how do we help you launch quickly in a variety of ways so you can really start to get that message out there? And finally, sponsor. People are important when you're acquiring a software such as ours. And it touches a lot of parts of the business when you're thinking about productizing. It's not just IT, which we heard from a lot of IT leadership in the keynote session. We're talking about making sure that you guys buy in across sales and marketing and client services, your partner network, right? Making sure that all the people that can help you deliver these integrations successfully are on board, and we do that through what we call our automation board. So we'll dive into all 3 of these, but to give you kind of something, hopefully to put it into context, this is an example of a customer journey. It's hopefully not anything new to any of you, but the idea that you've gone through discovery and validation with our team, identified Workato as your embedded iPaaS partner, and then during onboarding, again, this is a little bit from a new customer perspective, the idea of getting into an embedded blueprint, figuring out that strategy. As you come out of onboarding and start to really figure out how to deliver that first value, being able to launch with our Ignite program, and then finally being able to really grow and scale your offering long term, which is a huge emphasis on success, bringing the automation board into play. So I'm proud of these slides. They're very pretty. What do any of these logos mean? Let's go into all 3 of them. Okay, so the embedded blueprint, all around strategy. The embedded blueprint is essentially a self-service tool of assets that will help you accelerate your integration maturity. For those who have been partners of ours for a little bit, you might have heard of a term called embedded product guide. You might have spoken with your account managers at different times and heard this kind of nebulous term of our embedded product guide, which is essentially a tool to help you kind of go to market, but it's a heavy tool right now. It's 200 plus assets, it's a lot to kind of consume, and the idea of the embedded blueprint is to give you a more consumable look into that you can kind of pick off the shelf and figure out what assets I need to kind of go look at and build to try to put a strategy together. And then eventually, if you feel like you need more help from us, that's obviously where our advisory services could come into play, help you guys kind of make this your own. But again, this is a self-service turnkey tool that will help you guys understand what to prioritize and when and who should be involved to get that integration strategy out the door. So what does that look like? First and foremost, I'm going to kind of build this slide in terms of inputs that you would provide, and the next slide will actually show us what that blueprint looks like, what the actual tool is. So first, as a partner of ours, choose the value that resonates most with you. These three that are up here are simply the things we hear the most from our customers that matter. All of this has been built off of industry knowledge and customer testimonials, if you will. So we hear these three often: revenue growth, speed to solutions, and customer churn. So the idea would be that one of these, maybe more, align to what you're trying to solve as a business, and then the assets are going to kind of align to that ultimate goal there. So you would kind of go first and say, yep, revenue growth is really important to our company right now, especially with this new integration platform. We want to learn more about that. We'll eventually get you into the tool, and when you do, you'll see that the assets that apply for this specific value driver are across these three different types of personas. They're kind of the main buckets of the people that should get involved. How do I obviously technically consume this? How do I sell it or get it out there and talk about it? And then how do I market it to the right kind of ICP? So we'll show kind of the assets in that light of personas. And then they're all going to be plotted against essentially a value, high, medium, low, and a level of effort, high, medium, low. So you know now what things should be more important and less important. So you can kind of start to prioritize accordingly. So these are kind of your three building blocks that ultimately get us into the blueprint itself. So bear with me as I build this slide out. I mentioned it's coming soon. We're working on finalizing all of these assets to be available to you. But again, it'll be a self-service tool, and it'll manifest like a chart on the right. This is my attempt at putting it into a PowerPoint, so don't mind the visual. But it'll be an interactive chart that you guys can then go use and interact with these assets. So again, the types of assets you'll see will be across product sales and marketing. Things like how do you launch, scale, and maintain governance in product? How do you enable and find the go-to-market fundamentals like pricing? And how do you do things like create your personas, your ICP, your campaigns for marketing? All of that are going to be templates or best practices or guides or something along those lines that you'll have access to. The blueprint itself looks something pretty like this, where you're going to see those 20 assets plot against value and level of effort, again, kind of color coordinated depending on your persona. And they've all been weighted in a certain way, dependent on our take on the market. So essentially, if you take a look at what this might look like, if I sit in product, I might be looking at this blueprint aligned to revenue growth, and say management and security as an asset, which will be a series of best practices. We provide you things in product you should be aware of for management and security, is a medium value, low level of effort. As someone who sits in the product org, I might tackle that pretty soon as I buy Workato. We'll give you the justification on why we kind of ranked these things the way they did, and then we'll give you a link to an asset that we host to essentially go use that guide or best practice or what have you to actually then make sure you're implementing the management and security layers that you should. So that's just an example. Same thing that would come up for sales, tracking consumption. How do I make sure that I consume correct, sell correct? You can see that this one for revenue growth is going to be medium value, high level of effort. Again, provide the justification. Same goes for marketing as it relates to things like personas and ICP. So all of these dots on here are going to be the same set of assets across these different types of value drivers. They're just going to be plotted differently. And if you can think about that, if I'm sitting in one of these different orgs, I'm going to tackle everything that's high value, low level of effort first, right? And then I'll kind of follow counterclockwise the quadrants around to make sure that I'm tackling things correctly. And I'm not hopefully overwhelmed by the things I have to focus on. Now again, take it or leave it. There's some people who might look at this and be like, I know what I'm doing, so I don't need any of this. But we got this requested so often from our customers to really give you guys something to jump off of, and hopefully something that self-service can kind of provide you that. Again, if you needed your own, or if you really kind of wanted to figure out how to do this yourself, you can engage with us to make something more personalized. But these are intended to be out-of-the-box charts for you guys. So now that you have a blueprint, hopefully you've got some sense of a strategy. You are likely thinking about launching. How do I get this actually out there? How do I consume? How do I get my customers using the product? And this is what we call our Ignite program. This was launched a couple months ago. And the idea of the Ignite program is really in line with your onboarding. If you're already a customer of ours and you've gone through that, you might be a couple years on the platform, still very relevant. And the reason being is that these are playbooks that you could pick up at any point in time and execute as well. So we put kind of just a timeline on here, 8 to 10 weeks after, kind of into our partnership. We really just want to put something out there to say we want to get you to value quickly, and we're dedicated to doing that alongside you. So the program itself is essentially a series of these playbooks. Maybe you want to launch a marketplace inside of your product. It might live alongside native integrations. We have a full accelerator, if you're familiar with our accelerators. We present on that actually tomorrow. That allows you to launch that very quickly into your product. Maybe you want to launch something as a SKU like Acme Connect. So we've got a playbook to help you kind of do that. Embedded automations would be fully embedding our recipe builder. How do you templatize and get things out the door for your customers to start on? And then ultimately, how do we get your end customers live? We consider those first 3 product plays because they're very much touching your product. The last one, I think we can all agree, would be the ultimate value to get all of your customers live as quickly as possible. We want to work with you across all 4 of those, whichever one aligns best with your business, and be a partner in getting all of these achieved. So the idea is you kind of are selecting one, again, typically in your onboarding program, but really at any point in time. And once you have that, we provide you a detailed project plan. Lots of different assets, but things like product guides, tons of best practices sessions with our team, a dedicated technical team to kind of get you on board and ready to go on this program, and align you to this project plan. A lot of customers come to us and say, we have a conference that we're going to be at. We want to launch something before then. Great time to introduce Ignite and have us work backwards from that and get you to launch something for that event. You might use it as well for training or things of that nature. But again, this is the idea of getting something out the door quickly and sticky in product. Ultimately, the goals, kind of already alluded to this, is to deliver that value quickly, learn and iterate. A lot of our customers who just kind of sit on the platform and don't really know how to launch it, they're not necessarily learning. It's okay to get out there, fully embed the recipe builder and be like, whoop, that didn't work. We have a lot of customers who will be agile and learn and kind of revert. And the idea of Ignite is to potentially guide you through that in a more friendly way. And then ultimately, obviously, achieving mass consumption. We want you guys to get tons of usage out of the platform. Win-win. So that's the Ignite program. So we've strategized, we've launched, and now let's sponsor. We need the right people in place to make the right decisions. This is what we call our automation board. So your account manager will be working with you closely to get key stakeholder alignment across these different leaders. Depending on what type of company or size you are, these might be one person, this might be 20 people, who knows, right? But the idea is having all these right folks aligned for the right executive buy-in, establishing the right KPIs for this program, really just making sure that you can get all the right people in the room to make the right decisions and not do it in silos. That's what the automation board is doing. We'll conduct quarterly business reviews with this automation board. It's a very good way to introduce executive alignment as well between our teams. And they'll be involved in the different programs as well that you might see listed here. So this idea of aligning these people helps give oversight. You'd be surprised how many things can happen and other people within the org just don't really know what's going on. The automation board we've seen really successful over the last couple of quarters now. to get minds moving. What if we sold this way? What if we introduced this new SKU? What if we introduce client services simply for our most complex customers and maybe not for everybody else who can be turnkey? So lots of really good, helpful conversations if you can kind of force this function to come together. So just a quick summary on these initiatives. They're newer all for us, but we're really excited about them because, like I mentioned in the very beginning, it's one thing for us to give you a really good product. I think we all believe in Workato very, very strongly. I think it's the best product I've ever worked in myself, but it can only kind of take you so far if your customers are not using it, right? So these might seem not tangible as a product, but they very much are real to help you guys do things like strategize, launch, and sponsor your offering. And we really hope to kind of partner with you across all of these. Not really intended to kind of throw it at you and walk away. So we're excited. If you've got questions on them, they're all new. And I think being able to present at Automate gives us a chance to make them even better. So we're excited about it. But what I will mention, maybe to backtrack a bit on what I was saying, is these are all great. They're only as good as the product that backs them, right? So we do want to switch gears just a bit. We'll have some time, obviously, at the end here for some questions. But I do want to pivot us now into our roadmap. So we've got these 3 programs. They're wonderful. What are the exciting things that you guys can also tinker around with in the next couple quarters? So I will pass it over to Alessio.
Hey. So the idea behind these slides is to provide you visibility. Okay, since when I joined Workato, I remember interviewing customers and so on. By the way, I'm super obsessed in interviewing customers. I want to understand your pains, okay, because I know what you need. It's easier for us to create something better for you. And I remember the first customer said, okay, you released a lot of things. Gautam showed us, we released, I think, 700 releases every year, but maybe they are too much for us. Maybe it's difficult for us to be aware of everything, okay? And it's true, especially in the embed, because again, embed grew so fast, really, that it's hard. I understand your pain. It's hard to be aware of everything. In this part, I will show you embed-specific things, and they are not a lot, to be honest. So first of all, so it's easy, okay? But on the other end, what is also important for me to understand, and that's the reason why, again, happy to keep discussing, it's important for us to provide you visibility in the roadmap. We have an entire team, to be honest, that is dedicated for this. So that's the reason why we have the product tab. We used to have a product tower. We used to update the changelog. We have the documentation. I mean, the Workato product is complex, but on the other end, is also powerful. So also in this case, again, happy to receive any kind of feedback. Also for another reason, because to be honest, in the embed part, you have an additional complexity. I mean, you want to be updated, you want to be aware, because maybe you want to know something before then your customer is aware of something. So again, that's my challenge, happy to help. It's a quick recap about what we did already, what we are working on, and Q4 and what we want to do, okay? So this is also the language that I will use. It's a bit technical, okay? But again, after this meeting, after this part, I used to work with Zoom, so after this meeting, we will have anyway the Q&A. So happy to provide additional visibility. And I will also try to explain and to provide additional context a bit. So private community, what we did. Private community is a way to allow your customers to discover things. And with things, I mean recipe right now. Not yet project, that's another story. I know that maybe some of you needs this one. That's on our plan. But anyway, it's a way for them to start. And it's important for you that will be compatible with the US data center, with the European data center, with Japan, and also with all the data centers that we will release. Anyway, another thing, we will release in September, if I remember well, also the Australian data center. So this feature is cool. I remember we are hiring other folks and so on. I remember during the interview, folks said, okay, Alex, we provide them if they are good. If they are not good, okay, that's another story. Anyway, we said, okay, you have a take-home exercise. So please explain me Workato. And they are new in Workato. We want to understand if they are able to understand our product, okay? And they were surprised because they created this very amazing recipe, okay? I said, okay, you are a product manager and you need to connect Salesforce, if I remember well, with Jira. Whatever you want, I don't care, okay? They provided me this recipe that is good. I mean, okay, how you did it? And I said, well, I studied a bit about, all the assets that we have. So our documentation, YouTube, and so on, but long story short, they started from a pre-built recipe. So private community is available. We also have in our roadmap, more, let me say, in the medium long term, also to extend the private community to the project. Because one of the difference between, let me say, the direct and in general, who is using Workato for themselves and our product, I mean, I feel part of my product a bit, is that you are creating integration, not only recipe. The recipe is something that maybe is easy to do. It's a single recipe, but sometimes you have a recipe, a lookup table, then another recipe, then you want to convert the recipe to the function and all these kind of things. And that's the reason why, okay, we have private community. Okay, private community basically should be the place where your customers should discover also your recipe. The difference between community and private community is that there they can find the recipes that, right now, the integration that you pre-built for them, okay? That's the first part available. Plus Manifest API. I mean, I know that it sounds a bit techy, but anyway, I also know that you are techy enough. And yesterday we did a CUB meeting. So basically a CUB is a way for us to retrieve feedback from our customers. And I was, not anymore surprised, but anyway, I was okay, understanding that especially in the embed, you want to be, API first. Because maybe you already have your own product team, you already have also sometimes your own development team. And if we will provide you API to do something, I'm sure that you will do a lot of cool features on top of Workato. Be API based, it's also a way to scale Workato, because when you want to activate a customer, it's easy, let's click create and so on, okay? But when you want to provision, 1,000 of customer or 100, or when you want to deeply integrate with your product, this is when the challenges will start, okay? Manifest API was longly requested. So basically the manifest, it's a way for us to create a kind of container with some sort of assets, so recipe, a folder, and so on. And with this container, you can export and import. This export and import part, that technically speaking we call the recipe lifecycle management, it's a way for us right now to deploy. So it's a way not for us, it's a way for you to deploy. So basically it's a way for you to say, okay, I have my own team. In the admin tenant, they created everything. Okay, now I'm ready to scale. This customer asked me to have integration XYZ. Okay, let's automatically export and import. And you can do this also at runtime now using the Manifest API. Another consideration, I heard a lot of customers saying, hey, Alex, we also want every kind of feature that should be compatible with embedded API, please. I'm trying to do my best, okay? I still have something in the backlog, to be honest, okay? But anyway, I got your point, okay? So we are trying, with Kari also, we are trying to make sure that all the features that we are releasing, they should be embedded compatible since day zero. And with embedded compatible, first, we also have embedded API. Second, they should be compatible. So you don't need to wait maybe a year or something like this. It's a challenge, to be honest, for me. It's a challenge because internally, as you can imagine, we are, I think, more than 20 PMs. and they want to release something, but on the other hand, I will add a lot of other requirements for them, okay? So again, that's my role here. Then, what we are working right now, granular RBAC, multiple CX option, and environments that I know you requested a lot of decades ago, and other additional embedded API just to basically to cover all your cases. So I will try to go deeper, but I want to explain here what I mean with. The granular RBAC is a way, the granular RBAC, for the admin console will provide you additional granularity in how today you handle your customers. We have this part of our screen that is called admin console, and we will provide you additional possibility to define roles in a different way. So maybe some of you needs only to have access to some of your team needs only to have access to this part of the screen, other more detail and so on. You know, we are very careful about two things, and I'm really proud to work in this company: security and typically security. Now AI, but that's another story. Okay, so everything regarding security, everything that allows you to integrate to be enterprise grade and so on is something that is super important for us. Multiple CX option will provide you more stuff, basically, because in Workato, you have multiple ways to embed the customer. Maybe they are white label, maybe they don't know that you are using Workato, and it's okay for us. If it's okay for you, it's okay for us. Or maybe they are embedded, and in this case, you can define this model we call CX option in the UI, or the environments. Environments will be, and if you are already a direct customer, you are already aware because they already enabled. Basically, with the environment, you don't need to switch between multiple account, because per each customer, we will provide you, and I will go deeper, the dev, test, and prod. Everything is there, everything is isolated behind the scenes, so they are three different workspaces that works very well together, well connected through the UI and through the API, as always. Plus, again, as I said, I have the backlog with some API that are now platform API, but not yet embedded API. Let's start with, okay, the granular RBAC for admin console. So basically, this is our admin console, and as you can see on the right, something strange happened. So basically, this user is only able to see customers and customer manager, but not settings and usage metrics and I don't know, the audit log streaming configuration and so on. So basically, we tried to summarize here, and this will be available immediately after the automate. So the next week, this will be released. Okay, it's fully tested, so don't worry, I can assure you that will be released. We did a lot of tests. So this will be available. Again, basically everything is already in where you can define permission per each collaborator. So it's easy for you, it's just another tab that you will have, but per each category, you will have the possibility to have as a viewer, as a manager, so to manage or to delete. So I hope that we provided enough granularity. Interviewing customers, they said yes, so I hope that is a yes. And then next feature, that is this environment part, because they changed the slides. Okay. Environment. So first of all, this will be included. Okay, so no additional cost. This will be part of our platform. You will benefit from this one. I mean, if you are a new customer, this will be activated. It's okay. If you are an existing customer, please get in touch with us. Okay, so I interviewed during this time, I think 20 more customers, because let me say, the most challenging part, at least for me and for you, will only be to understand how you want to migrate, okay? Because we decided some paths that are straightforward. if you decided to, if you already deeply integrated Workato, I mean, we have some path, but we need to discuss. So that's the reason why I will help, the team will help, we are willing to help you. Anyway, as soon as you will have the environment, environment will be compatible for your admin tenant, but even more important, for your customers. And again, another point, this doesn't mean that this will be available immediately, okay? So you will have the power to decide if you want to enable for them or not. Why? First of all, because this will bring, a new menu, or maybe not a new menu, but anyway, 3 other icons. This will create a bit of more complexity, okay? And maybe for your customers, they are not so sophisticated, okay? Today, I had an amazing meeting with a customer. I can't say who. And anyway, their customers are very sophisticated. So in this case, they want to have this one. But maybe it's not so interesting. That's another story. Okay, but maybe you decided to fully embed Workato, and your customer, they don't care. They have everything there, and it's okay. This means that you did a great job. You don't need the environment. But maybe environment could also be a way for you to prove to some enterprise customers that, hey, we have environment. So this deal can be closed because we have environment. I remember having a conversation with a customer saying, hey, Alex, I need this feature because I need to sell to, I can't say the name of this customer. Anyway, okay. And they will have this possibility. Environments is designed to be backward compatible. So I mean, we will introduce new features on top. The new deployment model will be also based on environments. But anyway, all the features that you are using right now will be backward compatible. Let's imagine environment as 3 different IDs, customers behind the scenes, but well connected through the UI and through the API. Okay, so I mean, it's not rocket science, but anyway, it's something that is useful for you. Again, it's isolated, so I mean, also in our database, they do not share physically the same recipes. So I mean, every time that with the environment features, you will be able to, okay, let's imagine this standard CI/CD path. You created your integration for your customer, okay? Then you will decide to deploy, and in this case, you will deploy still using recipe lifecycle management. But you will deploy, in this case, in the dev environment and not in production. They will do something, maybe you will assist them, maybe your team will help them, and so on. At some point, if you're lucky, your customer will decide to test it. And this is where, through the UI or through the API, if you truly want to integrate also environment with your product, you can decide to switch a project because environment finally is project-based. So for us, again, our mantra is you want to deploy integration, and integration equal project, not anymore recipe. You can decide to switch between dev and then to test. When you're ready, when you tested everything, and I don't know if you are aware, but anyway, we released weeks ago also the test automation part. So when you're ready, maybe when you run all of your test automation and so on, you can move and you can pass to production. That's let me say, that's the magic behind environment, but I'm sure that will be cool. I'm sure that will be fun. I'm also sure that we will have to keep discussing because a lot of other features will be created on top of environment concept in general. And that's also a way for your customer and also for you to say, okay, I'm creating something for you on your behalf, but you also need to do your part. You also need to test. You also need to make sure. And when you are ready, okay, let's move to production. Another thing that is useful for now to be aware, can we later? Okay, thank you. Another thing that is, sorry if I'm overwhelming you of detail, but you asked and I'm trying to provide you feedback and also provide you detail. Another thing that is useful to be aware, we don't care if you have tasks that are consumed in dev, test, or prod. So if you have a contract that is based on task, we count task. We don't care. So to be honest, you are also, if initially maybe you want to have, maybe for a longer period, a project that is running in dev, it's okay. Task will be counted, you will be aware, and so on. Sorry, another thing that is useful to know, and maybe I also think, if you are not aware, please get in touch with your sales. I also created a video that will provide you also a bit of more detail, because we will also improve, when environment will be released, the usage metrics dashboard. Okay, so everything will be there. So I mean, the usage metrics, it's a way for you to go there. Okay, I have tons of customers using tons of tasks, but where? Okay, and all those consumption things are there. Next, hybrid CX option. I don't have a lot of other slides, so don't worry. Pay attention for the last maybe couple. Okay, hybrid CX option. Okay, I mean, in Workato we have typically two different models. Let me say in this way. They are more, but let's imagine two. You decided to embed Workato, so you have your own amazing product, you have your own amazing UI, but when your customer clicks somewhere, they see kind of your UI, but in reality it's our UI, as an iframe, okay? So you can customize it, you can apply all your branding style and so on. Okay, you did it. That's one part. The second part is behind the scenes anyway, our product is running, we will maintain our product and so on. The other part is that you can use our platform to provide access to your customers to our platform, that in reality they think, and it's okay, it's your platform, basically. This is what we call white label, basically. Or there is also the third way that is the same. You will create a customer, but you do stuff on behalf of your customer. But sometimes you want to do, I mean, I want to have a kind of hybrid approach. I mean, I want to integrate, so I want to use iframe and so on. But on the other hand, I also want maybe for my team to access to their account. And right now, this was not possible to be done, also for, let me say, security concern. So basically, behind the scenes, to authenticate, we are using a JWT token. And basically, if the user will redirect to Workato, right now they are redirected to your platform. But again, maybe sometimes they want also to do more, because they want to also be able to see the entire platform. And with this feature, also always per each customer, you can decide to toggle on or toggle off basically this redirection. So long story short, if you are fully embedded, in this case, toggling off, this means that they will be able to also to see our platform, if you will allow them. Or some of your team will be able to assist them. Because another strange behavior that happened is that also your team, maybe they are not able to see the end user experience and to connect with their account. I mean, they can do, but it's a very weird way to do this one. Plus, please remember that I'm not alone, okay? So I have a lot of colleagues. Again, this is maybe for you also sometimes frustrating, to be honest, but on the other hand, we are a team of a lot of people, and part of my responsibility for sure is to make all of you satisfied, but also we used to say the power of one. So basically the platform is still the same. Every time that my colleague releases, I don't know, test automation, SQL transformation, whatever, you and your customers will benefit. And that's, for me, to be honest, that's a superpower rather than having a kind of separated platform. Okay, what's next? I don't want to go a lot deeper here, because tomorrow we will go deeper. We have tomorrow other couple of sessions, if I remember well. One is focused on best practices regarding deployment. Another is focused on debug, and basically means how to provide to you the tools to help your customers rather than maybe opening ticket to us and then waiting there, holy shit, refreshing the page and so on. Okay, but what's next? This is 2024, okay, basically. So, and again, please, this is a huge disclaimer. This is not yet in the roadmap, okay? We discussed it yesterday. We're trying to figure it out. So, same integration. It's good that Workato is multi-tenant or multi-tenancy or multi-tenant something anyway. This means that you have your template and you can customize the recipe. But sometimes you only want to maybe do a different fields mapping, maybe a different filtering, a different data mapping. You don't want to add extra logic. Or maybe you don't want, maybe you don't want that your customer, will break something. That's a reality, okay? And for this reason, we are discussing heavily with Carly and with a lot of other customers internally how to make this simpler. Because the reality is that they enter in Workato and sometimes they feel that the platform is huge and maybe it's too big for them, okay? They want to have maybe a step-by-step UI, something like this. We will discuss. Or simplified deployment. I mean, right now you are able to deploy to your customers at scale, but with, for sure, API, with the recipe lifecycle management, but not with also with the accelerator. They pitched me, it's amazing with the accelerator, but not with, how to say, with the product feature. That's the reality, okay? So I mean, we are trying to understand if we can create a kind of deployment engine, call as you want, that will help you to simplify also this part. Because when you want to start, I mean, if you are lucky that you have also a team that can be heavily involved, it's okay. If not, part of our mission is also to simplify this part, to simplify your job. So I hope, and I think, okay, and this is just a reminder for me, because Gautam said me so many times, hey, AI will be everywhere. That's a reality. I mean, for sure, not tomorrow. That's also another reality. But yesterday, this morning, it's a long day. This morning, when Gautam presented us the Copilot, I mean, for me, it was, okay, so we are still discussing here. Let's imagine only a couple of examples. First, let's imagine if AI can help your customers to adopt better without getting in touch with you. So, I mean, this is the first part. Rather than building, building you will have everything. But also, let's imagine if the AI can help. AI for me especially, it's only a tool. I mean, it's not bad or good and so on. It's a tool. So this is just a reminder for me, but also for you. We don't know yet. We are figuring out how AI can help. So we are very happy to listen everything that you have in mind to understand how we can really use AI to scale also your customers and to help you and to help them to adopt faster, better, and smoother. Thank you.